Hey everyone, let me know if you can hear me. Loud and clear. Thank you, Stuart and Sandy, Ken, Tony. Awesome. Alright, I was getting a little worried. It's like, and it looks like Ray hates ads. YouTube, what is it? YouTube Premium. We'll get rid of ads for you. That's what I have. I got sick of them too. You can hear me all the way from Australia. Now that's a loud voice, Lynette. Hey, Hannah, how are you? Misty, good to see you. Russ is in the house. How's everyone tonight? Roger Clark, good to see you. Hello from wintry UK. What happened to spring? Spring has become unsprung. Good to see you, Cornell. Inter. Chuck. Good to see you. Dana Carr, Stuart Braithwaite. Kiora, New Zealand. Kathy, good to see you again. Tracy, Tom. All right, all those regulars. We're going to be kicking off when that timer hits 0. So right now everyone's just kind of coming in and just introduce yourselves in the chat. And we officially kick off on the hour at 1 p.m., which is like 2 minutes from now. 1:41. I've really got to get rid of the squeaking in my chair. I don't know. Will WD-40 do it, or do I need some kind of a, I don't know, some kind of a grease or something? I have no idea. It's been wet in Scotland. Hey, Pigeon in Indiana. All right, we've got about a minute to go here. And Bruce won't be here this week because he is vacationing in the Keys, in the Florida Keys right now. Suffering in the Keys. Maybe some Teflon spray? Oh, I don't know about Teflon. After I saw that documentary, it kind of scares me. Maybe something else other than that. No way. So, okay, so other people. Alright, what do we got? We're coming close to this. And 27 seconds. Alright, we're getting close to a countdown. Alright, here we go. Get ready. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. And hello, everybody. Welcome to Live from Lockdown, episode number 57. 57 weeks we've been doing this. Well, after this week, it'll be 57, 56. This is our 57th. Can you guys believe it? I'm so glad to see all of you here at Live from Lockdown. A lot of regulars and some new people. If you're new, introduce yourself in the chat. Say hello. We've got the friendliest community here on the internet. And if you're part of the crew, the cafe crew, just shout out and say hello. I see a lot of chat going on in there. If you don't see the chat happening, it's maybe because you're not watching it live. And if that's the case, just drop a comment underneath and I will respond to those comments. Now, also to mention the comments in the chat that are happening live, I'll catch some of them and I'll shout out some sometimes. But just if I don't mention it, doesn't mean I don't read it, because afterwards I go through and I read all the comments. So it's good to see all you guys. I'm going to switch to my screen right now. So let's just go right ahead. And so we're on week number 57. And if we want to look at our screen here, make sure I push that right, which I have. This is our composite that we started last week. So, hey, from Irvine and Cherry. I'm in Irvine. Oh, I know you. All right. So this is kind of what we built last week, just kind of starting from, let's show you what we started from. Then we held down the Alt or the Option key and click. And we started with this kind of an image here. And then we went through and, just kind of built this up. And I kind of threw some things on the top to give it some finishing touches. However, we're not finished. There's some other things we could definitely do to make this better. So we're going to continue this a little bit, but what we're also going to do is look at some of your guys' composites that some of you have submitted. And hopefully we got enough time to do a little Fix My Photo as well this week. So let's just jump in. And, before I do, let me just give you a little tip. Here's a fun little tip to start with. If I want to create everything into one layer so that I can just kind of work on it, I can either, hold down the Shift key, select everything. I could right-click and convert to Smart Object. That would be a good way to do it, and that's how I would do it a lot of the time. However, in this case, I just want to do something really quickly, so I don't want to tuck everything away inside that adjustment, inside that Smart Object. I want to create a layer on top which has everything on it just as a composite layer. So we're going to hold down what I call the Avengers, which is the Shift Option command, and that would be Shift Alt Control on Windows. I call it the Avengers because it's all the modifiers, so they have special powers. They all come together into the Avengers, so we held all of those down, and the E for Merge E, and that will create a layer on top, which consists of all the layers underneath. Now, the reason I'm doing it is I just want to just quickly show you something. So we're going to create a new layer above that layer. And this is what I want to show you. When you're working on the clone stamp tool, which, we won't need to do a lot of cloning on a lot of this because we have it in separate layers. But what a lot of people do is they grab the clone stamp and then they grab it. Let's make a smaller airship. So we're going to go under the window here and let's go to the clone source. Clone source, by the way, is where we can change the settings for the clone stamp. So if you're wondering where all the clone stamp settings are, they're here. So I'm going to create another airship, but smaller one. So what I'm going to do is link the width and height. We're going to change this to 50%. And then, you could paint a new one. And that's cool and everything, but notice what I'm doing though. I am working on a new layer. That's why I created a new layer. So some people, they do the clone stamp, they do it directly on the layer they're working on. And the problem with that is, if you do that and you want to change things, you can't. So let me give you a further tip. When you're working on that new layer, make sure all layers are selected. Because if you just have current layer selected, nothing is going to happen. Well, unless you're working on the current layer. But see how we're working on other layers, it's not going to work. However, if I just want to work on this and capture this and nothing else, I could do the current layer and it's sample that, alter option, and these are just gonna get smaller off into the distance. And the reason that's working like that is because we've set that to 50% scale. So you could create a whole fleet of these very quickly. All right, I'm gonna delete them because I just wanted to show you that as a tip. All right. So let's undo some different things. I'm going to undo this, which I put on the top for color grading. Why don't we hide that for now? We're going to hide the helicopter. Let me name this. Chopper, airship. Because if you remember last week, we just kind of dropped these on really quick at the end. Because I wanted to put some... and some of you might have even missed it. Because we literally did some of these, I did some of these steps during the afterglow to kind of show you some things that can be done. So we got atmosphere, all that kind of stuff. We're just pulling it back and we're just undoing this. Great. So what I'm doing is I'm just hiding all the embellishments and stuff that I put on the top at the very end to kind of pull this together and just kind of show you how we could make something that looked a little bit more polished. But we hadn't finished, so we're actually going to back up a little bit now. Now, if you missed what we did here last week, here's just some curves and adjustments that we used to just put everything together. Essentially, let me undo all the adjustments so you can see what we did. And by the way, it's all there in last week's replay. So it's there. You can see it on YouTube or on Photoshopcafe.com. And then click on free tutorials. Under free tutorials, click on live streams. And then you can see what we did. So we're not going to do it all again this week. But let me just show you what we did. Is we took these cities. If I hold down the shift key, we can see, you know, we just cut out that photo of a city, blended it in. Same thing here. Notice I'm just doing the shift key to hide the mask. Just do this quick recap. Then, of course, another city, shift key to hide that. So if I hide all the masks, you can see what we did is we just dumped all these cities on there, masked them out, blended them in, and you can see that on the replay. Then we wanted to add some water in here. So we just took this picture, dropped that in. Then we did some quick adjustments, some curves adjustments here to make the cities kind of match so that they're all the same kind of luminance value. Same thing with the water. The water was too saturated, so we hit some hue saturation, dropped the saturation on it. Little curves just to kind of match the tone. And so essentially that's what we did. Then we just did all this atmospheric stuff that we added on later for coloring and fun stuff. But before we go and do that again, there's definitely something that we just didn't get around to finishing. If you look at the foreground here, where it's going from the ocean into the foreground, it's just not matching. It's not looking good. It looks bad. This is the weakness in our composite at the moment. So there's a couple of different, well, actually, there's a lot of different ways we could approach this. One of them, we could just replace the water maybe with something that has some elements there. And we'll have a look at that. The other option would be to just grab some elements and drop those in as well. So why don't we do that? So what we're going to do is under the window. Now, if you guys remember, there was an extension I grabbed, and it was the Free Stock Search Pro, where I can get free stock photos. So this searches things like Unsplash and all the other free stock sites. Now, if you want to know how to find that, it's an extension inside of Photoshop. And don't worry, we'll slow down and get into the workflow in a sec. This is just a quick recap. You want more detailed stuff, check in to last week's. So what you do is you go under Window, and then we find extensions on Adobe Exchange. So we click on there. This will launch Adobe Exchange, which is coming right there. And you sign in, and then basically you just look for your add-ons. And there's all kinds of add-ons you get in there, free and paid. All right, so now we've done this. Let's do something like, let's search and try and find something. Waterfront. So this is what you would do for this composite. So literally we've left this exactly where we left it off last week. I haven't changed anything. So good to see you, Lewis, and or Louis. And so we're just looking for something that might match. So as we noticed last week, it seems that all the cities are shot from the right-hand side, the lighting, which is kind of hilarious. We have no reason for that, it's just the way it is. Okay, and I'm just kind of scrolling down here looking for something. These are not going to work because these are nighttime scenes. We're working during the day. And so we're just doing a waterfront search. I feel like San Francisco or New York would be a perfect waterfront for what we're looking for. So if we don't see anything quickly in here, I'm going to punch that in. And notice these are all the free different sites. Pexels, Unsplash, Pixabay. Those are places you guys can go to get free stock photos in case you were looking for them. All right, so not really seeing anything here. That's kind of nice, but that's getting a little bit closer to some of the things we want. Although a higher angle would be better. Now, of course, we can also use Adobe Stock. Let me just try New York. And so I don't know if any of you guys have done this kind of stuff. Good to see you back, Rolf. One of the most challenging parts, and it's just there is no solution that I know of, is finding the right images. It can be time consuming, and you just have to look and try and find, searching for the right photos. Okay, so I see some things here that we might be able to use. We've got some different things going on here. definitely some good ideas. The other option is we can go into Adobe Stock. And if you want to find Adobe Stock, you're going to go under the library. And under the library here, and of course there's other places, there's paid places you can be using. And what I want to do is I don't want to search the current library. So click this little arrow and we search in Adobe Stock and we're going to do waterfront. Let's do and New York. That's a weird way of spelling New York, and what we do not want is we don't want video. We want photos only. I wonder if this lets me search this. In Adobe Stock, we can filter by photos, which is what we want. And it looks like we can't turn off premium. Premium is an extra charge. So let's see if we spell New York correctly, we might get more results. There we go. All right, so we can see there's a ton of results here. And as much as it does cost money to use Adobe Stock, I find a lot of the time I can get, just closer to the results that I'm looking for. So I'm looking at something like this might work. So let me just add that, and it's going to add it into my library, and we can have a look at it. My default library, by the way, is set to Adobe Live. And so when I add something, it should appear in there. Of course, it's making a liar out of me right now. No problem. Let's go back. So you can see what we're doing here is we are just trying to find our photos. And let's search these libraries again. There's our New York. So I'm just going to and it's under graphics. That's where it is. Okay, so I can double click on this. This will let me see a bigger view. And if we want to edit it, we can click on edit. And this should pop it open. There we go. And the nice thing about Adobe Stock is you can get the free version of this. And I'm just going to drag this through just to see if we think, hey, is this even going to work? Obviously, it's low resolution at the moment. Let's just clean up this workspace. Reset column minimum. And let's just make this nice and big so we can see. And if I what I'm going to do is I'm just going to invert it. Let's add a mask. Control, Command, actually Alt or Option. I click on there. And then I'm just going to grab my brush, and I'm going to grab a white brush. And I'm just going to paint a little bit just so we can kind of see where's our city. Make sure our flow and opacity is all the way up to 100. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just auditioning this. Okay, so that's going to be that part of the city. So I'm just looking at this. If I take this and I drop it in here, will it work? I'm not worried about the color because the color is easy to change and match. I'm looking at the angle, and you know what? That looks like it's going to work. So see, this is the part of the the workflow that I would probably never show this part on my weekly tutorials, which are quick to the point rehearsed tutorials. But in this case, it's not perfect angle, although the city is not a perfect angle either. So we're just a little bit rough here, but that looks like it's going to work. We can use that. All right, so let's go in. We're going to go to our library. I like it. I'm going to license it. It's going to cost me one of my licenses. If you have a account, you get you can get so many licenses a month. There's all different pricing on those. All right, so let's open this. It looks like it's still downloading the high-res version. So once you license this, this is going to be replaced with the high-res version. So let's go under graphics because we saw that was the name of the group we're working in, which I'm looking for it. I guess I could just do the search. That's weird. That's really weird. Huh. Okay, well, let's just go back to our recent then, our waterfront search. There's our image. So let's open this. in the library. There we go. There it is in the library. And choose edit. And why is that not updated? Let's try it again. Ah, there we go. Now it has. So now we have the high resolution version. Maybe it just was a large image. Oh yeah, it's a pretty large image. So it took a while for it to come through. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this over the top. And I'm just going to hit the 5 key to drop it down to 50% opacity. And then I'm going to use this to kind of build the transition area. So let's bring our opacity all the way up. And I'm going to hit the Alt or the Option key and create a mask. So we're masking this out. So the whole thing is hidden. And now I'm just going to grab a brush, paint with white. And let's zoom in and see if we can start to use some of this. So we're looking for where this water meets. So that's a little low. Let's bring it up. I'm going to hit the brush. Okay, good. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking for this, just for this transition area. And you know what? I'm just going to go all the way forward as well. See if that's going to work. So what we're essentially doing is just grabbing this as a new waterfront. So we're looking for that transition area. I'm going to paint the water all the way in. Not to there, obviously, but let's just zoom out. Okay, grab the brush. So all I'm doing is I'm just kind of popping it in right now. There we go. There's our waterfront. Great. Now clearly we need to blend this water into the other water. So the easiest way to do that is with a layer mask, but I don't want to mess up the mask I'm working on. So if I hit Control G for group, this will put this inside a group. And now I can create a new mask. So this is how I do a double mask. And I just want to create a gradient and just do a smooth transition between the two. So with the gradient tool selected, click on the top, grab the black to white, linear, mode normal, opacity 100, and then we're just going to drag up. And see what I'm doing? I'm just blending that. Let me undo it. I want to do an even softer blend. There we go. So now we're blending these in. Don't worry about the colors right now. We'll get to that. So let's go back to the other mask now. Grab the brush. And I'm going to go smaller. So I want these areas that I want to include. Let me hit the Shift key and I'm just, spacebar, sorry, and I'm just moving across. So I'm just looking for a place that I could cut these. A natural, just kind of a place where they could cut. There we go. And see what we're doing, we're just kind of blending these in quickly. Now, if you were going to look at this close up, then, you know, you would, like if you're doing a big, what would you call it, like a big poster or something, then you're going to go in and just take a lot of time to get this, you know, really, really tight and precise. If you're not, and you're just going to look at this low res, or, you know, it's just going to be in the background like a matte painting or something, you don't have to take that time to make everything perfect. It just needs to look good enough to sell it to the audience. So I'm just kind of painting this, trying to make it look like some kind of a transition area. Let's hit the X key, and I'm going to make the brush harder now. Not all the way hard, but harder. Left bracket key will make it smaller. And now what I'm doing is I'm just like literally just saying, you know what, I want to cut it above that building. Now remember, this is not going to be perfect, because if I was going to do this perfect, you know, I would probably spend a whole day on this piece. And, you know, there's definitely some angle issues and different things like that, you know, where it's not perfect. But this is going to be good enough to show you guys the process. And see how we're just kind of cutting that in. And in a minute, we're going to look at some of your guys' stuff that you've submitted. And by the way, if you guys do want to share some of your work, maybe some of your composites or stuff related to what we teach each week here, or you just want to share something, rather than doing it to fix my photo, because that's not really the most ideal place to share, photos for me to share with you. It's more stuff for me to work on. If you go to either our Facebook or our Instagram, or you can go to our Twitter, and then just, that's Photoshopcafe. So just upload it to one of those social media platforms and then tag us. Just tag us at Photoshopcafe. Make sure you follow us there too, by the way. So tag us, and also in the tag, put in a hashtag, LFL for Live from Lockdown or something, would be good. Or fix my photo. Just do that. But make sure you tag me at Photoshopcafe. And then, maybe from time to time I'll share, if we get some good submissions and we get a decent amount, then maybe each week we can do a segment where I share some of your submissions. I don't know if you guys want to do that. If you've got better ideas, please drop them into the chat. But right now, I would suggest, the way to do that would be to do it through our chat there. All right, cool. All right, so now we're getting, that's definitely looking better for the waterfront, because, before that was just, bleh. This is definitely looking a lot better. So what we're going to do now is change the color clearly. Thank you, Robin. Okay, so I want to change the color on this. How am I going to do that? I'm just going to throw my hands up in despair and quit, because I can't. No, I'm joking. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go under, let me Control J. I just want to copy it. So let's make a copy of it. So I'm working on a copy. And the reason I'm doing it is I'm going to use Match Color. And I'm not sure Match Color works on a Smart Object. Otherwise, I would just convert this to a Smart Object and apply it that way. But Match Color, I don't think does. So we're going to go to Match Color here. And what I want to do now is I want to steal the color from something else. So the source, the first thing we want to do is make sure we're working on the same image. If you look at the top, you can see we've got two open. This is Kit Bash. That's what that stands for. So we're now going to look within this document that we're working on. And we can use any of these layers to get our color. So if we pop this open, there's a mirror of our layers panel. So let's go down and see what we've got in some of these layers. Maybe the C. And it's going to take a second. Yeah, there we go. It starts to apply. The shadows are in the wrong direction. That's all right. We can flip those around later. So let's just get the colors right at the moment. So we'll get to all the little bits. So what I want to do now is I want to just do a fade, and I'm going to see if we can get this to grab the right color. This is going pretty sluggy because this is a huge image we're working on right now. And there's someone trying to spam me on my phone. Let's see what other layers we've got. I'm not quite feeling the sky. Let's try some other layers. That one's not going to do it. Yeah, this is really sluggish. Just because of the... Oh, maybe this layer is going to be what we want. I feel like we're going to get what we want from here. Okay, so let's take this back. Obviously, the luminance is too dark, so we're going to lighten it up. It's going to take a second for this to apply. The fun of working on very large images. Let's increase our color intensity. Okay, so this is sort of getting there. Let's have a look at the preview. It's obviously not getting us the color, but we're starting to get towards the tone that we want. So I'm definitely going to apply this. This is going to give me the tone. So what we need to do is adjust the opacity because it's still too dark. So turn on the layer underneath. Drop the opacity down a little bit. There we go. Now we're starting to match our tone. Remember what we did last week? We created that black and white layer. It's just a black and white adjustment layer. Let's turn that on. So now we're not being distracted by the tones, and we're just merely looking at the color. And we're not looking at the color, we're just looking at the tones. There we go. So that looks like, I feel like we're kind of matching the tones better there. We can turn that black and white off. The tones are matched, but now we need to change the color. So within this group, let's just create another adjustment. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to do this really easy. I'm just going to create a new layer on top. And I'm going to grab the color. So I'm going to hit the Alt or the Option key and just sample some of this blue. And why don't we create a solid color? That solid color is going to grab whatever's on the color picker. Let's change this to color blend mode and see how that's working for us. Great. Now, of course, it's affecting everything else. So if we just go into our group here, instead of being in pass-through, we'll just change this to, is that going to do that for us? If I hit the Alt or the Option key, I can just clip that to the one underneath. All right, so we're starting to get there. And that's applying our color. I think that's starting to look a lot better now. Yeah. So if we turn off the color, and if you feel like you want more of that color, just Control J will duplicate that color layer. And let's clip it. So Alt or the Option key will bring it in there. And I think that's starting to look pretty good as far as that. All right, so somebody mentioned that the light is going the wrong direction. And they are right. Let's have a look at the light. So we're looking in here. And I can see some shadow. The light is coming the wrong way. All is lost. Control T on the group. We're going to right click and we're going to choose Flip Horizontal. And this is kind of, we did this last week too, if you guys remember. We did that with the city to make sure we matched the light. And so, you know, that's the nice thing about this. You know, we just do it one little step at a time. Let's reposition this. And I feel like down there somewhere should work nicely. Got a little bit of work to do on the bottom. Because if you look on that mask, if I hit the Shift key, you can see we got a little bit of work to do here. So let's just grab the brush. I want to go back to the soft edge brush. Let's take the hardness down. Let's make this a little bit bigger. And now I'm just painting in here. I'm just blending that in. In fact, let's make this huge and just kind of... There we go. Okay, so we're getting a little closer there. Now, if you wanted to create some kind of reflection of the whole scene, what you would do is you would just essentially just do what I told you before. Hold down the Avengers and hit the E key. This will give us a duplicate of everything. Control T for free transform. Right click and we're going to flip vertical. Let's just hit the 5 key so we can see it at 50% opacity. And that's essentially what we're going to get. Okay, great. So let's bring it down. We're just going to match it. Sorry, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat this week. So I'm just going to have a little bit more water. Hang on one sec. Thanks, Rod. We need some rain here. That's a good idea. Yeah, we'll throw some rain in there. I like that. Oh, you need rain there, or you want some rain in a deposit in the composite? We can do that too. I'm creating a mask. Now the frogginess is just, don't worry, I'm not sick or anything. It's just probably atrophy because I'm not talking much these days. So what I'm doing here to blend that in is I'm just literally just creating a gradient. Let's get this to where it looks about right. All right, so we could do that, and then let's see if any blend mode's going to give us a better result. Light or screen. Screen maybe. Take the opacity almost all the way down. And I'm just going to bring it in so it's just barely barely going to show through. And of course, you could ripple this as your filter, distort. Let's use a ripple. It's going to be hard to see what's going on here, but I'm going to do large. Just do a large amount. Click OK. And see what that's doing. It's just kind of rippling it. And I can apply a couple of times. So we're not going to get that perfectly straight line across the edge there. All right, so that's very subtle, but if you see that before and after, you can see that gives us a little bit of a reflection there. So we're starting to get close. All right, so we've now fixed that area that was really bugging me, which was the waterfront. And that was definitely the weakest link in this before. And so what we're going to do now is let's just drag our layers out a little bit. Now, let me just continue. So what I did with this chopper is I built this chopper. I just got a photo and then I cut it out and I dropped that in. Now, for those of you who don't know why I did this, I'm doing it as kind of like as a compositional element. This is, number one, it's putting a character in here. So it's giving us a sense of story now. Instead of just this matte painting being there, now the story is the helicopter is flying in. You know, who is it? Is it a spy? Is it, you know, it could be anything. You know, so this helicopter is now coming in and it's also leading the eye into the image. You'll see this a lot in like movie posters and different things like that. It's a very kind of common technique. You might see some birds flying around. In fact, I've got some birds in one of these kits. Let me just bring this open. I'll pull it off to the side and I'll keep kind of talking while I'm looking for something. I just thought of this. This would be a great idea. I'm going to look for it when Bridge opens. There it is. So I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple of times we've used some stuff from design cuts. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm on my other screen. I'm just going to look for this design cut element. And PhotoMaker's correct. It's also a leading line into the scene. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Rolf. Thank you for that. And S. Singh, we got a new visitor here. Welcome to part of the cafe crew. And so what I'm just doing right now is I'm just gonna look under. I know you guys can't see it. I'm clicking on I'm digging around. I don't want to bore you with that all over my screen. So I'm just looking in here under our resources, presets, Photoshop extras. That's what we're looking for. And then we've got design cuts. I can bring it in. I'll show you guys what I'm doing. So we've got this sky builder. I've got all these different things that I've got from design cuts. I think I've used them here a couple of times before. And then I've also done some fun things with design cuts. Okay, so I'm going to open up this. So their design cuts basically have a bunch of useful add-ons and extras and stuff like that for Photoshop, and they're great. These just kind of save you having to cut things out. I do have a code. I'm sorry, I don't know where the code is. If you guys are interested, I could get you a code and we could talk more about that in the future. But all I wanted to do is I wanted to grab these birds because they're just going to give a nice touch. Look at that. I prefer the birds maybe than the airship. What if we have them coming over here? No, I think I like them better on the other side. What do you guys think? You like those? Design cuts, sky builder. There we go. That's exactly what I was grabbing. And I think I might have, I got you guys addicted to design cuts. That's great. So yeah, sky builder is where I got these birds from. And look, it just adds that, you know, if you watch any movie, for example, Gladiator, the minute they show the Colosseum, those birds are flying. And they just give it that nice little thing. Yeah, check it out, designcuts.com. Gosh, I don't even know. I had a code or something for it. I don't even have it right now. If you want that in the future, let me know. All right. So anyway, so that's what we're doing. So we're just kind of building this up a little bit. I like what the birds are doing. Let's have a look at the airship. So, you know, I dropped that airship in there. Obviously, it's going to have to be behind the birds, unless those birds are just absolutely humongous, which maybe they are. Maybe they're pterodactyls. So let me just drop this airship down a little bit. And let's just kind of pop it in here. I'm going to cheat because this is, I want to just kind of fade it a little bit. So I'm just going to hit the A key. It's going to drop it down to 80% opacity. Normally you would lighten it up, but you're not going to see the clouds coming through there. So you can actually get away with doing stuff like that sometimes. Maybe we've got this. Let's go behind the city. So I'm dragging it down here. And let's pop it in behind the city. Okay, that didn't work. Let's see what we've got here. No, we've lost it. That's because it's clipping. Let's hit the Alt or the Option key. We'll unclip it. There it is. And by the way, if you double click on, or I believe is it Control Option click? Yeah, Option click on a thumbnail now. That will take you directly to that object or that layer inside of Photoshop. That's kind of a newer feature, by the way. So that's how you can kind of get around. I want to drop this behind the cities. So let's take this airship and we're going to drop it all the way down there. There we go. Now it's behind the city. It's obviously still too big. And these are the kind of elements that, you can just kind of noodle with. I'm going to take the opacity down a little bit more because I don't want it to be, overbearing. There we go. Just kind of in the background. It kind of looks neat and fun. So, you can play around with these kind of elements and start to add more and more elements in there, to make the composite look better. And that's kind of one of the fun parts of the composite. All right, so let's continue. We've got all of this done. And then there were some things I did that maybe we can do afresh. The atmosphere. So let me just bring that on the top. So how did I create the atmosphere? All I did is I just painted with the brush. Some of you might have missed that, so why don't I do that? Because I can probably do a better job. So I'm going to create a new layer. Then I'm going to grab a brush. Under the brushes, I'm going to go down to this brush set, Cloud and Smoke. It's a Photoshopcafe cloud brushes that I gave you guys. So I'm going to grab maybe Soft Cloud or Soft Fluffy. Let's have a look at that one. Now, if you guys want these clouds, go to photoshopcafe.com/vault and you can grab them for free. A ship or a boat, that's a good idea. Photoshopcafe.com/vault. I'm putting that into the chat. Ray doesn't want the boat? No. Oh, dragons. We want dragons now. Well, it could be that movie. Remember that movie they made a few years ago? There was a helicopter and there was dragons. What was it called? You guys remember? Had Christian Bale in it. It wasn't terribly good, but it wasn't terrible either. It was okay. I enjoyed it. You guys remember what that movie was called? Pop it into the chat if you do. I'm just going to change this to a different shade of gray. Oh, you love the tones. Great. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so I'm just going to go under the hue, and I'm just going to give a little bit of a gray. No, it wasn't Godzilla. It was dragons. It was set in the UK. It's like the end of the world thing. Must have missed it. It was a few years ago. But once again, it wasn't like amazing. But there was a helicopter in there. And dragons. No, it wasn't Game of Thrones. No, this was like way older movie than that. So what I'm doing now is I'm just painting with the cloud brush. So I'm just creating a little atmosphere. So I'm just popping this up nice and big at the moment with a little bit of a gray. Let me put just, I don't know, maybe a little bit in front of this helicopter, but not too much. Just kind of soften it off a little bit. There we go. And let's go for a lighter shade. Rain of Fire. There we go. That was it. How to Train Your Dragon. That's funny. Yeah, Rain of Fire. That was the one. So what did you think of that? I mean, it wasn't terrible, I don't think. Misty saw it as well. And so did Red. I like the helicopter part. I thought that was pretty cool. What they call them, the angels. So what I'm doing here is I'm just painting now a little bit of cloud. And this is just going to give us... that tapping sound, by the way, is my Wacom tablet. Just going to give us a little bit of an atmosphere. And this will just kind of, I don't know, will just kind of help tie everything together. Maybe add a little bit more realism. Let's go for a slightly darker cloud. in this area here. And I've got this set quite low, which is why it's taking a while. Let me take the opacity up, drop that flow down. There we go. And I'm just kind of dropping a little bit of cloud up there. There we go. You know, I could create clouds in the sky too. And these are kind of those little elements that are just going to kind of give it that nice finishing touch. Let's go smaller. Put some white clouds. And notice I'm varying the shade of the clouds. And this is why we're starting to get a little depth now. See, they're not looking flat. So you want to just use, generally a darker cloud as the base layer. And then as you go lighter, sometimes you want to go smaller or larger. You know, it's just going to give it some depth and dimension. Okay, so this is what the clouds have done before the clouds, after the clouds. You can see what we're doing is we're adding just, I don't know, something. And if it's too much, just dial it back. There we go. Gives us a little atmosphere, gives us a little bit of, you know, what it's doing is it's, you know, giving us depth to the image and it's kind of tying it together. Great. All right, so the next part, we did all this dodging and burning. Let's just turn that back on around the edges. So it's just basically the same thing. And the same thing here. So let me just pull this. We did this last week, so I just didn't want to redo all that again this week. So you guys can check that out in last week's one. You know, there's some more fog. That's kind of interesting. I wonder what happens if I apply a blur to it. Now, if you have a fog layer and you want to make it more solid, let me show you how to do this. I just hit the Control J a bunch of times. And then it just duplicates it a whole bunch of times. And then Control G will put it together into a group. Let's right click, convert to Smart Object. I'm just going to do a blur. Do a motion blur. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to see if I'm going to get some kind of a misty, kind of foggy, even though it's up high. But let's just try it. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And we're just kind of getting this layer. And what can we do with this layer? I'm going to make it wider. Control T. And let's just stretch it out. Hit that again. And because I blurred it, it's going to create, see that line? Looks like San Francisco now. And what can we do here with blending modes? Well, it's kind of cool with the multiply. Kind of looks good. What's overlay look like? Soft light? Hard light? So sometimes, you know, it's just a little bit of experimenting. I like what it's doing with the soft light. Take it all the way out. Just pull it in a little bit. And see, once again, it's just adding some haze into the distance, which is giving us more depth. Makes the city look like, you know, it's bigger. Rain of Fire. Here we go. Matthew McConaughey, Christian Bale, Isabella Scorupia. I'm saying that wrong. And Gerard Butler. Yeah, I guess, yeah. It's a great cast. Yeah, it wasn't. Sean Connery was not the voice of the dragon on that one. All right, so I don't know. See how you guys like that. Looks like the mist over the sea. That's cool. I'm glad you like that. See ya, Jan. All right, so we're just kind of building that up. And now, if you wanted to do something like we wanted to put rain in here, let me just show you how we do it. I'm just going to hit Control S first. I'm going to save this because, you know, we've done all this work. I would hate to lose it. So we're saving it. I think the waterfront's definitely looking better than it was before. There we go. Andrew says, the movie was a good concept, poorly filmed. Yeah, there was some places just could have been better. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to Control D. Let me just create a small selection here. And I'm going to fill this with noise. So the first thing we want to do is cloud. So we're going to choose Filter, Render, Clouds. Okay, now we're going to add a bunch of noise to it. So let's add the noise. We're creating rain right now. Let's add an insane amount. Looks good. Let me see if I drop it down. Yeah, I definitely don't want it too patchy. I mean, if you go for leopard skin, in fact, this is how we used to do that leopard skin effect. You know, the when Apple had the OSX leopard, that's how we did that texture. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to expand this up, make it nice and big. Change the blending mode of this. Now, you've got options if you want to make it a lighter rain, like a sun shower, we can go this way. And if you want to make it dark and gloomy, you would go this way. And we just choose Filter Blur, Motion Blur. Let's set the angle of that to a nice clip of rain there. Let's change that distance a little bit because it's a little much. See what we're doing here? And essentially, this is how we make rain. So I'm going to drop the opacity down and see what we could do. We could go there. We could start to add a little bit of rain. Control J. And then what you do is you make the rain smaller in the distance, and then you make it larger up close. And of course, you do less of it up close. Let me just quickly show you. So you would kind of bring that up here, and then you would take our mask here. Actually, I'll just drop the opacity down quite low. And then that's what you do is you just start to build up different layers if you want to put some rain in there. I don't know. Do you guys like the rain or do you not like the rain? Oh, the poor birds. All right. So Tracy doesn't like the birds getting wet? Poor things. So what do you guys think? You like the rain or you like the snow? Let me know. Rain, yes or no? I'm going to wait for you guys. And of course, we could flip it around the other way. Okay, everyone likes the rain. All right, so if we went screen, we could go the other way and it's more of a sun shower. See, but no, let's go with the dark, moody rain. Okay, we're good with that. All right, you guys like the rain. Everyone likes the rain. Give them tiny umbrellas. That would be funny. All right, so there we go. So now we're creating a little bit of rain in there, creating a little bit more atmosphere. And let's put this over the edge. I did this for coloring, and if you forget what I did, I essentially just dragged a photo in here and applied a Gaussian blur. Let me show you. Just so I can show you exactly how I created this effect. So here's a quick way if you want to create some kind of lighting without bothering. Just drag a photo in over the top. Change that blend mode. Soft light blend mode. Drop the opacity down. And you can still see, hey, you can still kind of make out the trees and everything. Then just apply a blur. Blur will get rid of the details. And what it does is it just gives us just some interesting, color grading, and we're just essentially stealing the tones and stuff from there to add some secret complexity. We don't see much of it in LA, that's true. All right, so one of the things we might want to do, though, is maybe lower it in the bottom. And if we want to do that, we just create a layer mask, grab a gradient. We could go this way. And now there's going to be more in the top part of the photo than there is in the bottom. Now, I want to have a little bit in the bottom because if I option click and we see here, there's none and then there's some. So I want to reduce this. In the old days, we used to just hit Control L for levels and turn it to gray, but now we have density, which does the same thing. And what does that do? Density, if you look at it here, notice at the bottom, obviously nothing's going to change at the top because we're not masking it. We're masking it at the bottom. Density will change the density of that area that you've masked. So it's like an opacity just for the mask. All right, so we're applying that. That's fun. All right, so I think that's looking better. What do you guys think? I'm just going to save it out again. And, you know, maybe there's some things we could do in here with lighting and some different things to give it a little bit more drama, some lens flares, different things like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a lower... Okay, so this is go really big. Oh, now I've got to change it as a PSB, so we've got over 2 gigs now, guys. All right, so I'm just going to copy this out, save it as a PSB. Photoshop document or a PSD has a 2 gigabyte limit. PSB has a huge limit. See you, Rat. And all right, we'll let that save out. Now I'm just going to do something really quick. What I want to do is I want to create a composite layer. So I'm just going to hit all the, you know, like we did before, stamp visible. And then what I want to do is I want to select this layer. Let me see if this lets me do this. New layer, duplicate layer. This is what we want to do. So I'm going to hit duplicate layer. Now under document, I'm going to choose new. And we're going to call it effect. Let's just call it FX. So essentially, I'm going to create a new document out of this single layer. So duplicate layer, destination, new, click OK. Now we get a new flattened one. And that means I can close down this other one. So we're not working on a 2 gigabyte file anymore. Let's close out that, close out that. So now we've just created a flattened image. And we still have the other ones. Exactly. How did PhotoMaker read my mind? Yeah, I'm going to go in and add a flare in Boris FX. You're exactly right. Now let me just choose filter. And we're going to grab Boris FX optics. Now, how many of you guys are interested in this? Let me know. Because I was talking to the guys from Boris FX this morning about some things we could do. Would you guys be interested in doing an entire live from lockdown using Boris FX? Using the Boris FX optics filters. Is that something that would interest you guys? I mean, you know, we could do like giveaways and get like a really good discount code and all that fun stuff. Is that something you guys want to do? Let me know. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to get rid of, you know what, I'm just going to reset all of this. Reset all. So there's our current. Yes, yes, yes on Boris. All right, okay, you guys got it. All right. Well, we'll plan that for the future. Let's do that. Sometime in the future, we'll do a Boris FX special, and we'll give away some Boris FXs and all that fun stuff. All right. So what I want to do now is we want to add the flare. So we're going to find it. I believe it's under light. Here we go. Lens flare. And so what this is a plugin, and it does flares. It does all kinds of kind of fun things. So, you know, we can add a flare. Because the Photoshop flares, I don't know if you noticed, they're not all that exciting. So we can choose different types of flares. We can go into the parameters, change all that. But there's also presets. So what I like to do is start with the presets. So let's just have a look through here. The Sun and Me, that's kind of interesting. And this has some really freaking cool, really cool lens flares, if you ask me. So now we'll be getting our sun shower. Actually, sun's on this side. Make sure I almost broke the golden rule of respecting where the light is coming from. It's coming from this side, so, you know, we could have it from there. Let's have a look, sun basic. If we want to add a sun in there, it'd be interesting. We get these kind of more J.J. Abrams kind of anamorphic type lenses. I'm just looking through here trying to find something. That one's kind of cool. I like that one. If you guys see one and you think it's the best one, this one, Psionic, looks kind of cool. If you see one that you really like, drop it into the chat there. Oh, we could do some with a photo blip as well. What's this one? The LED strobe is interesting. Shooting a flare bomb from helicopter to shore. That could work too. Like that. And what would we do? So we could be sending a signal between the airship and the helicopter. That's an option. Or a red laser. Ooh, JJ. Here we go. Some Star Trek style lens flares. This is kind of nice. So now we can go into the parameters and we can do some different things here, like change the width of these, the height. Let's have a look at the color. Okay, so you're liking that. Okay, so let's play around with the color here. Maybe more blue. I kind of like the purpley though. Engage phases. Don't scare the birds. The birds are flying away. These are special. They're probably already scared, to be honest. Okay, let's brighten up that hotspot a little bit. All right, so so this is the kind of thing we could do with this. And why don't we grab another layer? And on top of that, why don't we add some ice halos? I don't know. Those are kind of cool. So these are always kind of neat looking too. Parts of the flares. There's a whole like rainbow kind of thing. Let's go up there. Let's drop it down. So sometimes you'll get these kind of cool effects like that. Let's go into the parameters. Make it bigger. There we go. Make it way bigger. Maybe that's coming off the top of the building. There we go. It's a standalone app, but it also works with Photoshop as a plugin. So we're applying it now, and we should get our. Just take a second for this to apply. There we go. Oh, it has a new version. Remind me later. And this should apply it. There we go. So essentially we've just applied some blurs and stuff in there. Okay, let's just jump in really quickly and see what you guys have sent in, because some of you guys sent in some composites from last week. So let's have a quick look at your guys' work. Now remember, tag us on social media. Follow me. It's Photoshopcafe. And in Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, tag us, follow us, and I can share some of these. Oh, you won't have to pay $1,000 for Boris FX. Definitely will not have to pay $1,000 for Boris FX. All right, so here we are. Well, I mean, at least not optics. So this is submitted by Jason L. Ruby. I put it on Facebook. Okay, thanks, PhotoMaker. And also we have a group. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. We actually have a group. It's Photoshop Cafe Design Challenges or something like that. Photoshop Cafe Art and Challenges. You'll see it. I will approve you if you apply on there. And it's a private group, but I'll let all you guys in, of course. This is cool. So we've got a wolf kind of here with a snake. It's like a very scary. And then we've got a werewolf facing it down. Nice work. All right, and then we've got Chris Bacon. Chris Bacon in the house. We got some Star Trek. We've got Star Wars. Did I say Star Trek? Please don't shoot me. We've got Millennial Falcon, and we've got an X-Wing. Awesome. That's fun. I like that. It's a fun composite. Another one from Chris Bacon. I actually like this one even more. This is really nice. We've got this supernova going here. Good work. Lighting's coming from the right direction. What I would have done is maybe picked up a little bit more of this red and maybe put a rim light or something on here to try and pick up a little bit of that kind of color. It's my only critique. I don't know if you guys want critiques on these or not, but it's a beautiful piece. Very well done. Nice. All right, and another one from Chris. We have the moon. That's cool. Nice job. I would have softened the edges a little bit because there's going to be some atmosphere in there, so those edges wouldn't show as sharp. But nice work. Did you shoot that moon yourself? Well done, Chris. Okay, so this one is Dana Carr. Are you in the house, Dana? So this is more of a artistic kind of a painting. So it looks like, you know, we're emulating a painting here. It looks like San Francisco. We've got a plane. We've got an oil paint effect going here. And is this like some kind of a solar shower or something? It's very kind of cool. I like the texture and stuff on here. Good composition. This turtle's very cute. Or is that a tortoise? But that's neat. It has a very painterly effect. And here's another one from Dana, which is also kind of a cool effect. I like this wavy effect. This is neat. Reminds me of the Andromeda filters, you know, kind of like, looks like money, like it would be currency. Everything is going to be all right. Great message. Everything is going to be all right, guys. And, oh, there, Dana's in the house. Yay. Thank you for sharing these. These are beautiful pieces, Dana. And we've got another one. This is a more artistic. It's kind of like a poster. I could see this for like a music festival or something. Kind of reminds me of New Orleans. And we've got a guitar player jumping up there playing. This is some rock. This is Eddie Van Halen. I mean, it's not Eddie Van Halen, but it could be Eddie Van Halen. Jumping up, playing some cool rock licks. And, of course, we've got a motorcycle in the bottom. Nice. Good, nice artistic work there. Nice color palette. I see we've got the cyberpunk colors. We've got the blue and purple going on, or pink. Nice work. All right. This is definitely a Fix My Photo from Henry. Maybe we'll look at this sometime soon. Another one from Henry, a Fix My Photo. Okay. So now we've got John Caffo. Are you in the house, John? Let us know. Another painterly kind of style. I can see we got some nice texture here, kind of like we were painting this. And let's see if he's there. We're tightrope walking across the Alps. Oh, no, see, we've got the Matterhorn there. Nice, nicely done. Some balloons, definitely tied into the theme here, putting some waterfalls. Good job. And Misty Moss. All right, we have some birds. Of course, we've got birds. We've got elephants wandering in the field. We've got a tiger. We've got a giraffe eating off the tree. Good job. Now, if you some critique here that you might want to look at, the light source. Consider that the light is coming from here because we've got our sunset. So what you would probably do is want to flip these horizontal. Same with the giraffe, so the light is coming from the same direction as that light. Elephants are okay as far as the lighting is coming from. So if you do that, you're going to get a little bit more realism. Also with that tree, flip those around, get the light coming from the right direction will add a lot. And then also you might want to work on just here where they're touching the ground. All right, good to see. Misty is in the house. Glad to see you. Nice work here. This is great. I like the feel. It makes me feel very happy. And then what you might want to do is try and get some brushes. You can find some plant brushes for this, like grass brushes and stuff like that are actually in Photoshop, or find some and then use that brush to do the masking. And then put a black mask on there, just put a mask on there, and then paint with black. If you can get a, plant or grass brush and you can paint here, that will help you with that masking to blend that in. Ronald. Are you here, Ronald? These alligators, crocodiles, alligators. Wow, this is not a place I want to be. If you're here, reveal yourself. Is this a composite or is this actual alligator infestation? I'm looking at this. I'm thinking like maybe this is an actual photo of the alligators. You're welcome, Misty. Good work. Yeah, this is just not a place I would want to be this close taking these photos. You're braver than I am. South Carolina, is that where all these are like that? Just hanging out? Okay. All right. So we got a giant alligator now. Looks like we got a pelican flying. So this is definitely a composite. And an elephant. So the elephant... looks like it's going to be elephant versus... this could be fun. Elephant versus alligator. I would have made the elephant even bigger because you got this giant alligator. I would have put a giant elephant there. And maybe one of the things you could do here is bring the colors together a little bit more. So if you remember, check out what we did last week on the composite where we kind of tied those colors in, or what I did this week when I did the match color on the different layers. You could do that maybe a little bit here and just kind of tie these colors together. See you later, Paul. And I think that would be nice. Okay, let's have a look what we got here. Stuart Braithwaite from New Zealand. Are you still here, Stuart? Saw you here earlier on. This is beautiful. I love this. Dune is coming out really soon in the movie. This is fantastic. Nice work. See if he's there. Love it. Looks really good. And hey, there you are, Stuart. Good to see you. Dune, I see this is some fan art for the upcoming movie, which I can't wait for. So the only thing I would do is our character here on the foreground is maybe work a little bit more at trying to blend her in. And maybe the way to do that is, rather than using this soft edge brush, is try a rougher brush, maybe with some grain or something like that, or even create a brush out of grain, because the sand is going to be a little bit coarse. So maybe you could kind of tie that just kind of where her feet are going into the ground there. That's all I would suggest. It's a beautiful piece, and of course, if I'm giving any constructive criticism, it's not to say the piece isn't good because it's beautiful, but that's kind of just what I would do maybe to try and improve it a little bit. Looks like the lighting is matching nicely with the shadow. Good job. Same here. Yeah, nice work. Thanks for sharing that. So it looks like we didn't have time to do Fix My Photo this week, so maybe we'll do a special on Fix My Photo next week. If we don't do the Boris FX, the optics, we'll figure that out. So next Thursday, we're going to do something like that. So thanks, guys, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. And by the way, I'm going to upload our final piece. Thank you for submitting your pieces, by the way. Beautiful work, all of them. I'll upload this to Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of fun stuff. So look for that there. I'm going to do a little work on this lens flare because I feel like the color is not quite matching it. So maybe I'll do the unaffected version or something like that. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. I'm going to do a soft closing right now. So if you guys haven't yet, please do me a favor. Hit that like button. Smash it into dust, if you will. What that's going to do is it's going to help us with the algorithm. So I appreciate that. So on your way out, smash that like button, please. If you haven't already joined Photoshop Cafe, just hit that subscribe button. And also, if you want to get notifications, just go to photoshopcafe.com, click on free tutorials and click on live streams, and you'll see a sign-up form there. Now, that's different than the sign-up form for the regular mailing list, because if you join the regular mailing list, you're still not going to get these notifications. So make sure you go in there under the live streams, and you'll see a form. Fill that out, or just drop your email address in there, and that is the only group I'm going to email to let them know that we've got these live streams. So when we go live, I send that email to you. So that's how you can do that. That's how you get the email notifications. Now, that's not a big, long email with pictures and selling stuff. Essentially, all it is we're live now. Here's the link. And, of course, the topic. And a lot of you guys are on there. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Until next time, I'll see you at the cafe. And I'm just going to jump in here at the end. So here I am, hugely in there. So thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. Let me just put the desktop up here, and I'll just pop our chat in here. Thanks, guys, for joining us. By the way, guys, if you're seeing this chat here, this means, and you can't join in the chat, that means you're not watching live, because we're live between 1 and 2 Pacific time each week. So, good to see you guys. Thanks for joining us. If you got a question, I'll take a couple of quick questions if you guys want. Otherwise, we're just going to wind it up here. And by the way, if you're watching the replay will be live directly after this. So if you missed anything there, that'll be there. And Ray, if you guys want to share your work, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and just hashtag us at LFL. Tag us at Photoshop Cafe, and then I'll see your work, and maybe we'll feature it on here. Who knows? That would be great. Also, we have a Facebook group. Look for that group. Join it. Enjoy this episode. Oh, thank you, Hannah. I'm glad you did. I was going to do something completely different, but you guys were saying you wanted a part 2, so you wanted us to finish this. Did you buy the Sony A1 in the end? Okay, confession, Russ. Confession. I have one on order right now. Super excited. So maybe next week or maybe the week after it will arrive. So yeah, I did. I finally took the plunge. I was really struggling with that. So yeah. Yes, Ashton, I know the angle isn't quite right on some of those. You're right. So, yep. It's not perfect, but I did mention that earlier on that these angles are not quite right. So, we're just, trying to do what we can with the time we have. So, yeah. We could, warp that a little bit and try and fix it. And maybe I will. So, you're getting the notice of a couple of hours ahead of the live time. Can you give me a day's notice or so? Okay, so Tim, if you want to, literally these go out, I send these out 15 minutes before we go live. If you want the notice a day before, the email that I send out an email, a newsletter. It actually went out yesterday, and I had, I don't link to this, obviously, because we haven't created the page yet. But what it does is it's telling you, hey, we're going live. It gives you the time, Tim. So that'll be in there. And all you need to do is just go to YouTube. Click on that link. We'll take you to the Photoshopcafe YouTube channel. And then a little while before we go live, you'll see this will pop up. Usually about an hour before we go live, you'll see the link and you can click on it and join that way as well. So I do send out a notification day before, but it's in the regular newsletter. As far as the specific link, I only create that link maybe an hour before we go live, and then that's why you get that at the last minute. So, but also, Tim, unless you hear differently, it's going to be at 1 p.m. Pacific time every Thursday. So it's going to be the same time, the same place. But thanks for bringing that up, and I'll try. I'm trying to do my best at getting these notifications out. Enjoy a tutorial like the 300 simulation. Oh, thank you. So yeah, this week on the tutorial, the YouTube tutorial, let me just bring up our channel here and I'll show you what I did. Was basically, this is what we did here, was how to steal the cinematic color grade from any movie. So basically what I did is I actually used the Justice League, the Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I literally went through, took some screen captures, some different frames, and then I showed you guys how to apply those color grades to different photographs, literally taking those color grades directly from the photo. Yeah, and all of that is like 9 minutes. So you'll find that at the Photoshop Cafe YouTube channel. I posted that on Tuesday, so if you guys want to check that out, it's there. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining us. Hey, I hope everyone's staying safe, and thanks for sharing your work with us. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and we'll be back next Thursday, same time, same channel. Well, what do they say? Same bat time, same bat channel. All right, so let me find the thing to close it out, and see you guys next time.